You have to allow yourself to be saved. How is it going, ladies and gentlemen? This is Sean Barnes. I want to welcome you back to The Way of the Wolf. On the show today, I want to talk about setbacks in life. I think that I'm probably preaching to the choir here whenever I say that setbacks are inevitable. We all encounter issues and challenges and setbacks and failures at some point in our life. And it's not fun. It's frustrating, it's demoralizing, it can be crushing, it can actually kind of send you into a downward spiral of depression. So I'm going to share some of my experiences over the past few months and kind of talk through the lessons that I've learned. If you've been listening to the show for any period of time, you know that last year I broke my ankle. I was probably in arguably the best shape of my life whenever it happened. I had found that nice balance of something that was sustainable while still being lean and fast and strong. It was in a really good place. And then, bloop, broke my ankle. Not a good situation. And a few weeks in, after getting all of the x-rays and MRIs and talking to the surgeons, I started to feel a little bit better. It took about a month to get in for the surgery after the injury. And that's whenever the reality set in. Because 3 weeks after the injury, I was actually hobbling around the house and in a pretty decent headspace, thinking, okay, getting a little bit better. I would go out into the garage, prop my foot up, and I could still bench and do curls and some movements and exercises. But then it hit me of, I'm about to have this surgery and just be wrecked for months. The amount of reconstruction that had to occur was significant. And the recovery took a lot longer than I had anticipated. So going from being in the best shape of my life into a situation where I had to have my foot propped up for 23 hours a day, yes, that's what the doctor's orders were, inevitably, I started to have to watch my body erode in front of me. And in that time, I had this realization that I had unintentionally been tying a lot of my self-worth and identity into my physique. And so I had this shift in my mindset of, all right, yeah, obviously there's more to Sean than just his physique, so I've got to lean into this. And I did. Started creating a lot more content, even though it was challenging for me because I was in such a dark headspace. I knew that it's what I had to do. And also, yay for timing, I was transitioning out of my full-time job and starting a company. Yeah, timing's funny. And so it was challenging, the thought of me having to go out and meet with new customers and generate leads and have conversations and build relationships. And oh, by the way, I can't walk. Rolling around on my scooter, which I guess it did make for some interesting conversations, but it was quite challenging. Fast forward to the past, we'll say month or so, and I'm finally in a pretty decent place where I can actually, I'm going to say run a little bit. I use that term pretty loosely, but the neighborhood that I live in, the block that I'm on, it's right at a mile around it. And so what I'll do is go out, run for 200-300 yards, and then I got to walk, catch my breath, which is also frustrating AF because I used to be a distance runner in school, and now I can't go more than 200-300 yards without being winded and my heart feeling like it's going to explode out of my chest. It's part of the process. And I've also started getting back into the gym, lifting more consistently. And there's actually a young gentleman that I've started training with recently that definitely it's good to have that strong training partner, but I do grapple because last year I was quite a bit stronger than him. Now he's quite a bit stronger than I am. And so it's this head game that I'm having to deal with of how much strength I've lost, how out of shape I am now. And then having to figure out how to overcome these frustrations of, well, I used to be here. Now I've got to rebuild to get back to where I was. And it's messed with my head. But also I've come to understand that it is part of the process. As we move through the seasons of our lives, there's going to be setbacks. We are going to fail at times. We are going to fall down. The most important part is that we get back up. That is what it comes down to. Learning to build skills around picking yourself back up. It's not fun. It's not easy. It's frustrating. It's challenging. You can have this why me mentality, but that doesn't really accomplish anything in life at all. Yeah. In any event, this is something that I have been grappling with, and I've been thinking about just sharing my experiences, sharing my perspectives, and sharing some of the things that have helped me. All right. So a few things that have helped me. I mentioned earlier, having a training partner in the gym, somebody that's going to push you and help lift you up during those dark times. And the funny thing about this, especially with men, is we will razz each other and give each other a hard time and oh, okay, can't lift it anymore, can you? Okay, well, stop being a bitch and start lifting the weight, Barnes. Okay, it's all in good fun, but also it's coming from a good place. Having those people that genuinely care about you, that are trying to lift you up, that are mentioning your name in a positive light in rooms that you're not even in, you've got to surround yourself with those people. We've all come across those people in our lives that they'll be your best friend to your face, but whenever it comes to behind your back, that's an entirely different story. You don't have to spend time with them. It's okay to create distance from those people. So keep those people in your corner. Maintain contact. People like that are usually pretty busy, so you might have to be more intentional about making time to spend with people like that. But that is going to be one of the biggest things that I can share with all of you is find good people. Surround yourself with good people that have good energy, that are going to lift you up during those dark times. So one of the biggest lessons that I've learned over the past few months, let's see here. I think I had a few other comments. I think I'll go ahead and wrap it up on that. Look, there's going to be seasons of our life that are challenging, that are difficult, that are frustrating and demoralizing. And that's expected. That's okay. But if you find yourself spiraling and circling the drain and heading towards this dark place, don't be afraid to pick up the phone and call that friend, call that family member, and just say, hey, man, I'm really struggling. Can you talk me through this? And the right people are going to tell you the things that you need to hear. Don't let your ego prevent you from reaching out. There is one caveat here. If you are the type of person that spends their entire life in a negative headspace and you are just this black hole of suck that drags everybody down with you, people are going to start to pick up on that. And they're not going to want to help you. I mean, they're going to want to help you, but if you drag them down and you spend week after week after month after year dragging other people down, eventually you will be in that dark, lonely place all alone. People are going to not want to spend time with you because you drag them down. You have to allow yourself to be saved. Think about it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for the show today. Thank you so much, and y'all have a good one.